Welcome to Twin Bush. There's a new tips and tricks episode. It's an informational video. This time we'll talk about professionally anchoring a lift. In this case, 2-post lifts and scissor lifts. Heavy-duty anchor bolts are included with every lift. For a 2-post lift we use M18 by 180 total length, and the small scissor lifts are usually M16 by 160 in length. The length is tailored to a suitable foundation, which we also require. You can find the foundation plans for each model on our website. For example, a 2-post lift with a lifting capacity of up to 4.2 tons requires a foundation thickness of 20 centimeters of concrete. Of course, it must be proofed if the garage or workshop has this or not. By making a test drill beforehand, we check how the concrete can be drilled. And we can get an approximate estimate of the concrete quality. We have a core drill from a client as an example. The client had a 50 mm screed layer and there was a 150 mm concrete layer under the screed. The client thought he had 20 centimeters of concrete thickness. While drilling, he noticed that the first 50 mm were easily drilled and after that it would get hard. Then came the actual concrete layer. Let's say we have a reasonable anchorage depth. I'll now use this ruler as the lift's base plate. When we insert the anchor in the lift, we clearly see that we have an anchorage depth of only 70 mm approximately. 100 mm anchorage depth would be ideal. 120 mm would be even better. Now there's the possibility that this screed layer on top of the concrete layer must be compensated. If a longer heavy-duty anchor bolt is needed, we can use one from Fisher, Worth or Hilti. There are different anchor systems as alternatives. If there's the case of having a relatively thick screed layer on the concrete foundation or the screed layer is known, then we respectively need longer heavy-duty anchor bolts than the original ones included in the delivery. So, in this case I could easily compensate 5 centimeters of screed using a longer anchor bolt. There are heavy-duty anchor bolts from Fisher, Worth or Hilti. They are all high quality. In this case we can see that this is an M16 anchor. Originally we use an M18 anchor. This is not a problem. The Fisher anchor has a slightly higher tensile strength than the original one, so we can downgrade to an M16 anchor. The advantage of our M18 anchor is that if there's any trouble with the anchorage, you can alternatively insert a threaded rod along with 2K compound mortar in the same drill hole.
Eine Gwindstange einsetzen in Verbindung mit 2K Verbundmörtel.
This means the original anchor bolt is taken out, the hole is filled halfway with 2K compound mortar, the threaded rod is inserted by turning, then we wait for a certain setting time according to the instructions. And then we can fix the lift with the specified torque. The advantage is that there is a wider range for determining the anchorage depth with a threaded rod. Another advantage of compound mortar is perceived when anchoring on the border area of a foundation. A certain distance must be kept from the borders with this type of expansion anchor. Due to the expansion tension produced by such a 2K compound system, it is possible to work closer to the border area. There are systems from Fisher, Worth and Hilti. These are the 3 I recommend. The only disadvantage of the Worth system is that it only works with a special cartridge gun. The Fisher system can be used with a commercially available cartridge gun. But I only recommend the use of a 2K compound system if the condition of the foundation is unclear, or if there's cracked concrete. Worth also has a compound anchor system with these cartridge inserts.
Mit solchen Patronen einsetzen.
At first sight this is an ideal solution, but it's not perfect in our case. It depends on the anchorage depth. Which means, for example, they only work when I know I want to fix balusters with a 5 cm depth. Then I insert the cartridge.
Die Ankerstange.
Then the Worth anchor bolt is practically bolted into this system by striking. This cartridge bursts and the mortar spreads around the thread. However, I cannot control the amount of mortar I fill in each hole. This is the advantage of the cartridge injection system. I can control this system. I can press as much mortar until it is flush with the top of the hole. For me, that means that it glues all over the entire concrete surface. With this cartridge only this area with this one will be glued. It's hard to judge. In this client's case we set up the reinforcement plates. Using reinforcement plates, the required foundation thickness is reduced by 5 centimeters. The client didn't need to build a new foundation. The 15 centimeters are enough in conjunction with the reinforcement plates. You can also mount them afterwards on top of the actual post base. These are built in such a way that they distribute the load which is taken by the post base, but they also press the post base downwards. They are not mounted under the base, they are rather bolted on top of the post base. Plus, in addition to the lift's actual anchor system, another 9 heavy-duty anchor bolts per post, so we're on the safe side. Incidentally, the M18 anchors are drilled with M18 drills and the M16 anchors with M16. If you use a system with 2K composite anchors, the M16 connecting anchor rods are also drilled with M18 because you need space for the mortar.